Good morning, everybody. How are we all doing? Morning, Robert. Make sure my mic's working. Yeah. Update over the weekend usually breaks everything. Morning. Who's there? Umo, Robert, Danny, Paul, Soul Trader, Mert. How we doing? Sebastian, Monkey, Joe. How we doing? It's Monday. I've just taken an oil position this morning. Just to let you know, I've put a few positions on. I've got another pending order which I've put on a little bit higher, but this is kind of a long-term swing type position, which I'm going to see what happens with oil. But the way this is escalating in Israel, I can't see this going anywhere but north. So I'm just taking an oil speculative position. It's one of those things where it's just either going to work or it's not. And that's the kind of room that I'm giving it, basically. So the gap up move that we had on Thursday, wasn't it? That should not get invalidated. If this is a rally based on what's going on with the conflict, which it is, obviously, and it's going to continue to escalate, then this is going nowhere but north. So that is your invalidation point. You can see I've got stop loss placed down there. So it's just a kind of speculative position, one-off. The Iranians have said that they're going to cut some of the pipelines to provide oil if this carries on, if Israel keeps on doing what they're doing. And obviously that is going to cut supply, which will increase pricing. Whether this is already part of that factored in, we'll have to wait and see. But obviously there's a hell of a lot more room to the upside. Go back and look at Russia. Yeah, that's the Russian invasion there. And that's what we've got so far. So looking at the size of those two moves, yeah, we've got easily kind of the same sort of move again. So we will see what happens, but it's just a kind of a one-off kind of speculative one that I've decided to take. Morning, Harry. Morning. It's time. Is WTI crude or Brent? Don't know. It's oil. I don't distinguish. They're both the same thing. They move together, so doesn't matter. It's oil. It moves when oil moves. It's one of them. West Texas. It's the West Texas one. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I never paid any attention to oil and commodities. And yeah, I mean, it's just oil. So I think it's crude, but I'm not 100% sure. That's one for Google or AI. Right, let's have a quick look at the news. So this is what we've got coming up this week. It's a busy week with interest rates this week. We've got Empire State Manufacturing this afternoon. So basically there's no news today. We have the Bank of Japan rate tomorrow morning. They're expected to stay as they are. There's no reason why they shouldn't, but the press conference will obviously give us forward guidance. We've then got retail for the US dollar tomorrow afternoon. CPI inflation figure coming out for the pound on Tuesday. So that's going to be another big one. Everybody else seems to be either it doesn't seem to be coming out where we expect it to be, so expect some deviation from that, I think, but one or the other. So that's going to be an important one for the pound. That will probably potentially that could quite a big movement off the pound off the back of that. So we've had quite a lot of news on the pound recently, which has been quite a deviation on forecast, which has made the pound quite strong or quite weak to quite a big extent. So if that does come out, the pound seems very sensitive at the moment to news. So just be aware, if you get something like a 3.1 or a 3.5, unlikely you will, but if you were to, a 3.1 would be hideous, but if you were to, you're going to get a good 200 ADR move off of it. So just be prepared for that if you've got any exposure on the pound, which I have at the moment. Unemployment claims, 130 on Wednesday. And then we've got the Fed rate in the evening. So this is the big one, obviously. There is massive pressure on Powell to reduce those interest rates. He's not doing it, basically, which is the right thing to do. But obviously, we've got Trump holding an axe over his head saying, you're going to have to do this. You've got to do this. You're too slow. He wants it down by 1%. Trump wants to drop the interest rate to 3.5% like that. Never been done. Obviously, it would have catastrophic impact on the dollar. Trump doesn't seem to care about that. But, you go back, look through history. No one has ever dropped the interest rate by 1%. Never. You just don't do it. It would just destroy the dollar. So obviously, Powell's doing the right thing and saying, shut up, you idiot, basically, which is correct. So there is pressure to drop it. Obviously, inflation's going the wrong way. So it's very unlikely it's going to happen. So we're going to stay at 4.5 on Wednesday. I doubt you'll see a massive movement off of that because it is forecasting already. Powell's highly unlikely to come out and say anything unusual. The press conference, he might get pressed on questions, but obviously we know what the answers are going to be. So I'm not expecting massive movement off of it, but we'll see what happens. GDP for the New Zealand dollar. Then we've got the unemployment rate for the Aussie. When we've got the Swiss rate. So they are forecast to drop to zero. So as I've been saying for quite a few weeks, that's where I've seen it going. It looks like we're going there. They are very, as you can see, very unreliable with their interest rate decisions. They often, like half the time, give us something that we're not expecting. So I do not think we're going to stay at 0.25. I do think we're going to drop to zero. Negative interest rates have not been ruled out, but it would be difficult for them to go 0.5% drop. So you never rule anything out with the Swiss, though. So be prepared for some big volatility on the Swiss franc on Thursday. That comes out 8:30, so we'll watch that happening live. No, it's not. I'm not streaming Thursday, so we won't watch that happening live. Then we've got the rate for the pound. That's not going to change. I'd be very surprised if we see anything change on the pound at the moment. It's too unstable at the minute in the UK financially to start mucking about. So 4.25 is where we're probably going to stay. So this week, obviously, as you can see, is a very, very big week for interest rates. We've got one there. We've got another one there. We've got another one there. And then we've got another one there. Yeah. So it's a big, big week interest rate wise. Saying that, we're not really expecting any deviation on them. So these are already factored in these moves. So there is potential for large shock, but unlikelihood, I think, of large shock happening. So we'll see what happens. But that's your news this week. Obviously, the whole weekend news has been dominated by Israel and Iran. The fact that the US is now involved obviously means we are potentially heading into major conflict, World War III territory now in Russia and also in the Middle East, which is what a world war is. Everybody going at it together, isn't it? So the US basically are actively shooting down Iranian drones over Jordan airspace, which means that they are actively fighting Iran, which means Iran has seen that as a declaration of war from both Israel and the US. So it is kicked off, which is why I've bought oil this morning, because the chances of oil going down are that up high. So, yeah, I mean, they control a lot of oil pipelines through Iran. So, yeah, if it's supply is restricted, price goes through the roof. So that's basically what the whole of this weekend's news has been about. It's not slowing down. They are still going at it hell for leather. The interesting thing is that the Iran attacks have got through the Iron Dome. So the Iron Dome obviously is Israel's defense system, which is incredibly powerful and you know, it works. But the fact that they're getting through means obviously there's holes starting to form. So Israel is not basically as bulletproof as it thinks it is. There's a lot of people died there. So obviously this is just going to be kicking off constantly. There is always a flare up with any conflict, and then it always calms down. So how quickly that calm down will come, I don't know. But this is a blatant manipulation really by what looks like the US and Israel really to derail the peace talks that have been going on and the escalations, rather de-escalation of nuclear armament of Iran. And obviously now Iran can turn around with no uncertain terms and say, this is why we need one, because you guys are just going to blow us up otherwise. So you kind of get their point of view, but equally, do you want them to have them? Same as North Korea, isn't it? We don't really want them to have them, but you know, it's politics, nothing to do with finance, so I'm not going to go into it. But anyway, so that's what's happened over the weekend. It's not going to stop, I don't think. So be prepared this week for massive volatility across the board. So obviously with everything to do with conflict, every single instrument is affected. So you're not going to find there's something is going to move and something else isn't going to move. As this thing kicks off, if it kicks off further, you're going to find everything is going to be volatile. You're going to get ADR days everywhere, as basically what will happen is the Swiss franc and the yen will consistently get pumped and dumped and pumped and dumped as the fear and the greed moves through the market. The same thing will happen to the stock markets as well. So as that happens, all the other currencies will be having injections and retractions of capital, which means everything kind of moves and everything becomes volatile. Whether it goes parabolic in one direction or the other, we'll have to wait and see. It depends how much it kicks off. But typically, you'll find that the Swiss franc will be the one that will benefit. So selling everything against the Swiss. So, but Swiss yen is probably not the one you want to deal with. Aussie Swiss. So selling Aussie against the Swiss, selling the pound against the Swiss, selling the New Zealand against the Swiss. So when those safe haven runs kick in, a la last week, you don't want to be longing anything against the Swiss franc when a safe haven run starts, because it could be days. Don't forget, this hasn't really kicked off yet with the West. We're not involved in any large scale impact as of yet. It takes one American jet to be shot down, then it does escalate. And that's highly likely, as Jordan is full of US military aircraft at the moment. So just got to be aware that at any time you're suddenly going to see a 200 ADR move on something like the Swiss or the yen. But I wouldn't want to be longing anything basically against those two at the moment, just in case. It may not happen, obviously, but there is higher likelihood of it happening than not happening. So you want to be prepared for that. Let's have a quick look at the markets this morning. So no trades this morning at the moment. Why have I got no trades this morning? Gutted. This is me being an idiot. Forgot to turn the EAs back on. Yeah. Okay. I turned off the EAs on Friday because I didn't want to trade Friday because of what was going on. I forgot to turn them back on this morning. Human error. So DAX and FTSE. Okay, so the ranges are good. There we go. So going to start trading now. So the ranges are good. So you will be taking a 5, 10 or a 15-minute long short there, and also a 5, 10 or 15 long short on the DAX as well. If you were... That's tight this morning. So you may well already have been triggered into a 5-minute ORB on the DAX, but we'll see. If my voice is very croaky this morning. I did a barbecue yesterday, and I think I inhaled far too much smoke. I just feel really like this morning. Right, we catch up on the chat. Morning, Virginia. My ORB 3 MT5 is now working again after another MT5 update, dated the 13th of June. Good. So basically, as usual, MT5 broke something, and then it took them ages to fix it. Where are we? The 16th. Yeah. So yeah, this is why I don't use MT5. I hate any software. I turn off Windows Update as well. I keep a track of Windows updates. I turn it off most of the time because I can't stand software that updates and forces you to update, because I do not necessarily want your update. There's stuff that you might break, and I will wait for an update to be pushed out, and then I will monitor and see if anybody goes, holy crap, this has broken everything. And I'll go, yeah, that's why I don't update. So yeah, MT5, it's a pain in the backside. Morning, Mark. Right, so this morning, plan is to go through all of the FX pairs. Going to have a look through everything, see where everything is. Obviously, plan for what's going on with the conflict and everything. Have a look at the positions I've got on. Just a quick look at where we're potentially going today. So, FTSE, you've got high of last week, which is there. Just put those on. Going to look at 1 month, 1 week. There you go. So there's your weekly high and weekly low there. So we're obviously bang. Last week we had that rally up, but we didn't go anywhere. We got back down again on Friday with what's going on. So market is going to be unwilling to drive very, very high very quickly, I don't think, with what's going on with these conflicts. So upside target today, Friday's high is obviously just outside of where we are at the moment. So there is potential for resistance to be met there. That's the gap fill from Thursday. You've got Thursday's high there, obviously, which is the high of the week. So really upside target, that's kind of your maximum today for the FTSE. I'd be surprised if we try and break long, to be honest, because I doubt the markets, any bank or institution is going to want to buy a load of stock with what's going on at the moment. So DAX, there's plenty more room on the DAX, as you can see. So the DAX had a really bad week last week. We gapped down on Friday after obviously everything that's kicked off in Israel. So there is potential for a long run to gap fill because we didn't manage to do it on Friday. So they may want to just try and get those inefficiencies sorted today ahead of potentially some more sell-offs this week. So there's a good argument for a long position on the DAX today, just up to the gap fill. But obviously you've got miles to go up to those highs. So there's plenty of upside available on it. But market sentiment at the moment is not going to be, let's buy a load of stock. It's going to be the opposite. Oops, didn't want to do that. Do that. So yeah, there's your low of the week, obviously. That is last week's high. And that is previous month's high. So you got a lot of resistance, DAX, but that's absolutely miles away today. You're not getting anywhere near that today. Unless all of a sudden Iran goes, do you know what, everyone? We're not going to do anything to do with uranium enrichment anymore. We've decided we love Israel and we love the West and we're all going to convert to Christianity. If that was to happen, yes, there's a good chance we might make the high of the month. But other than that, unlikely. So that's ADR. That's your average daily range. So it's 2 ADR. Obviously, it's achievable this week. But as I say, very unlikely, I think. Right. Let's have a look at FX. Struggling today to get anywhere, aren't we? Which I'm not surprised about. Right. I just wanted to quickly check something on the VPS. 1 second. Got oil there. Okay. Fine. Don't need it, do I? Right. Okay. So FX wise today. Morning, Chris. I think I said morning, Mark, already. Maybe not. Morning, Elevated Trading Hub. ADRs today, we've got 3. Swiss yen. Be careful of these because they're not really ADRs if you look at them. That is a gap down candle. So that's not really an ADR hit to the upside. If you look at the 5-minute chart, we gapped down to there and it basically, that would have been massive spread overnight. So it is an ADR reading to the upside and it has come off of ADR. So you've missed it. If you took it, you would have made money on it. But it's not a real ADR because it's a weekend gap. So that's one of the ADRs today. You've also got Euro Swiss and Euro Yen. Euro Swiss, that is an ADR hit to the upside. So just about to take my next short on that one. So this will be my second short going in a minute on Euro Swiss. And Euro Yen is the other one, which is also an ADR hit. Although, again, that's debatable. It's a gap down. May or may not have been legitimate price action. Can't really tell. But there is an ADR hit to the upside. So basically what we're seeing at the moment today is the unwinding of the safe haven runs from last week. So Swiss yen, a bit difficult to tell, obviously, because they're both safe havens. But obviously, this is your safe haven run. This is the unwinding of the safe haven run. So basically, we're just kind of undoing that at the moment. Aussie dollar Swiss, obviously, same thing. We've undone them. So this was a big knee-jerk reaction, obviously, on Friday. It was undone V-shaped recovery basically on the day with most of these, or most of it was undone. So it's basically just reselling the Swiss. Now, the other thing you've got to bear in mind, Euro Swiss 125 ADR, is that the market is going to want to sell the Swiss this week because obviously we're going to be dropping interest rates to zero, which is going to be negative Swiss. So you are going to see weakness in the Swiss franc this week, naturally, because the interest rates are going to drop. However, when any escalation happens, that Swiss franc is going to get pumped absolutely full of capital. So even though their interest rates are dropping and they will be selling the Swiss naturally, as soon as there's a problem, they will buy the Swiss. So I'm not really worried about going into drawdown on any Swiss franc pairs at the moment because when a safe haven run kicks in, it's just going to be payday. So I'm not really worried if it just goes into drawdown. That Euro Swiss is only the first position on anyway, so this is second entry going in. That's a hell of a move, though. That Euro looks like it might be pumping as well today. Yeah, some strength coming into the Euro this morning. So Euro Swiss moving twice as fast, obviously, because they're selling the Swiss franc and they're buying the Euro at the same time. So obviously that's moving twice as fast. So yeah, nice push position. Second entry going in on that today. Somewhere up here when we get some bear price action. Average will come up. Yeah, and then easy target to the downside. So we got last week's high coming up and last month's high on the Euro Swiss. Be aware of those. That's 125 ADR now. You've also got RSIs on Aussie dollar CAD on the 4 hour. So that's a nice extension to the downside. You kind of missed the move, unfortunately. It was already, actually, you would have got into a first entry on this on Friday last week or Thursday last week even. So Thursday, Friday last week, you'd have been in this already. So that one's starting to play out, Aussie CAD. Your Swiss yen also extended. I've got 3 shorts on that now. That's a lovely RSI extension. Look, we're extended and embedded up there, and it's our second extension as well, and third really in that run. So the entire week last week was a strong push. Morning, Ace. So yeah, looking for that to push back down again. There's your average in there. So looking for some push down, already short. And New Zealand dollar CAD is also a 4-hour RSI extension, although that is a bit of a gap, not much. That's where we closed. That's where we opened up this week. So yeah, nicely extended below that 20 level. So there's your target to the upside on the 4-hour. On the hourly, it's the propulsion move. So should be able to get an ADR out of that. Potentially 125 ADR is the 4-hour propulsion gap. So it's either going to hit this move here or it's going to hit that move there to the upside. That's just giving you a reverse alert short as well. So obviously this is a market structure reversal to the downside. However, it's just part of a range. So this is the low of the range, which is where you want to be buying. So this is a good looking long at the moment. Nicely extended on the 4-hour. So it's exactly the same move as that. Exactly the same move as that. Yeah, just looking for that push back up inside the range at the moment. Obviously, we've got the Trump move, which you can kind of forget. It's done. He made it happen. He undid it. So we are back where we were before. Now where are we going? That's the question. So price action, you know, you can kind of forget that propulsion gap to the downside. Normal price action is not going to be obviously that. This is the norm. So it looks like a lovely long. So those are your RSIs. Right. So we're going to whiz through all the pairs. Let's just have a quick look back at the indices, see what they're up to. We've broken short on the DAX. Stopped out on the FTSE. Been messing about with my indicators. So yeah, stopped out on FTSE. So I will flip short on the FTSE. We are short DAX. So downside, I'd be looking at the previous day's low downside, which actually is all the way back at the weekly low. Look, so that's your weekly low from Friday. Obviously, watch this area here. We got all these propulsion areas, but this is kind of pre-market price action today, which I don't really tend to take into account. So that's kind of the final low from Friday. We've got a little bit of buying at that area, and obviously they bought up all the way down there. So anywhere really down here, I would say you're going to find some support. Obviously watch that area as well, but pre-market, not as convinced. So we'll see if we get a break today. I wouldn't be too confident on a clean, strong break at the moment, but it's difficult to tell. So the thing we've got obviously to bear in mind at the moment is with what's going on, you really need to keep your eyes peeled on this news feed, because this stuff is just going to tank the market if something kicks off. So where the market at the moment will probably sit around and have a bias short on the stock indices, there's no reason at the moment for them to just catastrophically sell everything. There will be at some point potentially. So I suspect we'll be fairly cautious in the stock indices over the next few days until something kicks off, which could obviously happen anytime. Israel military, it identified a missile launch from Yemen towards Israel territory. So obviously the Yemenis siding with Iran. Yeah, there's a lot to get involved over there. So the thing I've never understood about Israel, sticking a Western sort of country, if you like. It's not, but it's its own entity, sticking it right in the middle of a load of people that disagree fundamentally with who they are and what they believe in. Yeah, it's like sticking the UK, who go, we're not going to have guns, bang in the middle of America and expect America to understand. It's not going to happen, is it? Anyway, whys and whens are irrelevant. It's happened and we need to deal with it. So yeah, short DAX. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Right, so I'm going to whiz through the pairs today. I'm not going to spend too much time on each one. One of the reasons is because there's not actually a lot has changed since last week. So I'm still only focusing on my core 7 pairs at the minute. It seems at the moment, the reason I started focusing on this core 7 was to keep the diversification there, but also to keep the exposure low because of what Trump was doing. Trump stopped doing what he was doing, but now Israel's taken over and has taken over from Trump in making the market volatility go mad. So I'm going to stick with still what I'm on at the moment. I'm considering expanding my reach a little bit as more ADRs going off, which are going to be Euro and Swiss based. There you go, pound Swiss, that one was. Yeah. So Swiss franc getting sold off again. So I'm considering expanding my number of pairs traded a little bit, but I'm going to wait and see what happens this week with these interest rates, and I'm going to see what happens with what's going on in this conflict as well. So for the moment, obviously that is my exposure, and I'm not really looking to take anything too much more on at the moment. Pound US dollar, I can't seem to get any traction with at all, but everything else is kind of just flip-flopping around at the moment, and I've got exposure everywhere that I want to have exposure. The only thing I haven't got any exposure on at the moment is the Aussie and the New Zealand. So the Australasian pairs haven't given any reason really to get in. As you can see, I'm out of that one, and there's just been no reason to get in. It's not extended, it's not moving, it's absolutely flatlined. So yeah, sell the high and buy the low if you want, but at the very best case scenario, you might get an ADR out of it if you're lucky. It's just not worth getting into. So everything else I've got exposure on at the minute. So I'll whiz through all the others, but we're not really any different to where we were last week on most of this stuff. As I said, the market's just still stuck. We don't seem to have recovered from the Trump thing. But we'll see. Afternoon, Pot DJ. Gold. We can look at gold. There's gold. Obviously, gold will go up. Safe haven. So that will be going up when things kick off, as you can see, which it did last week. But you're crossing that with the dollar. What's going to happen to the dollar during conflict is always very difficult to forecast because it depends what their involvement is, whether they have to pay for it, whether they are doing it, or all sorts of other things. So, we have just hit the monthly highs as well last Friday. Couldn't get through there. So we might be stalling a little bit, but yeah, it's bullish. It's not going to go bearish while conflict's going on. So yeah, good point buy. Look, right now, literally right now. Great point to buy. If you drop down 5 minute, there's your reversal alert. Look. As soon as we get back up above that propulsion gap, potentially going to start running new highs. Could come all the way back down here. So if you get an ADR hit to the downside on gold, I'd look to buy it, but I don't trade it. New Zealand CAD with the reversal alert at the bottom of range look good to me. New Zealand CAD. Yeah. Nice support. Very nice support. I mean, this is it's very similar to the Aussie New Zealand we just looked at. Yeah, it's exactly where you want to be buying it. Exactly where you want to be buying it. Reversal alert's gone in. Retest's gone in. Watch that as an upside target because that's a big sell-off we had on Thursday. There's a lot of sellers in there. So you might get there and get stuck. Yeah. So previous range highs. You might just get stuck like that in a smaller range for a bit. It might just blow through it. Canadian dollar will rally. So just be careful buying CAD at the moment. Selling CAD, which you're doing. If you're buying New Zealand CAD, you're selling the Canadian dollar. Canadian is a big oil producer. Yeah. If the pipelines through the Middle East start getting disrupted and supply gets stopped, Canadians will be going, thank you very much. You need more of our oil, don't you? Price is going up for that. Sorry about that, which is going to bolster the CAD. So this is at a point from a fundamental perspective where you might find a break to the downside on oil prices. But it's got to happen. So, it may not happen for a week. It may not happen at all. Yeah. But, this is the whole thing about trading. You take a trade because of a thing. That thing will or will not work. I don't know. It could well pop up to there. It could break down there. But if it's going to do that, plan. Where are you going to scale in and how are you going to get out of it? But yes, good, very good point to buy. Multiple weeklies. It's lovely. When you see you've got a monthly low, a weekly low, a weekly low, weekly low, weekly low, weekly low. Yeah. This is where they're buying it. This is where we are. If they're going to continue to be range bound, this is where we're going to buy it. Yeah, definitely. Reducing to 7 has that affected performance. I really like the idea of a reduced number of pairs. I found 28 too large, and I've always wondered if I can get the same returns from fewer. No, you can't. Of course you can't. If you trade less, you're going to make less. You're going to lose less. It's a numbers game. If you take 100 trades a month, you've got the potential to make 100 profits a month. You've also got the potential to make 100 losses a month. If you risk 1% on those, you've got a potential to make 100% of your account or lose 100% of your account. If you trade a third of the available instruments, you're going to take a third of the trades, which means you've got a third of the profit potential. You've got a third of the losing potential. You could increase your risk to double the size. That would give you 66% potential upside and downside, but up to you. If you trade less pairs, you're going to take less trades. Simple as that. So yeah, look at my P&L. But I am happy making smaller amounts of money at the moment because I would rather be safe with what's going on. Whether it's the right thing or the wrong thing to do, you won't know unless you go back and do an analysis of, let's say, for example, so what you want to do, this is what I've decided to do. My choice, because what was going on with Trump. This is what I've achieved. If I go back and back test my strategy over every single pair since January when Trump got in, I will either find I made the right decision or the wrong decision. That's it. I haven't got anything I can do about it. If that had been 12% because I'd traded everything, I should have traded everything. You make what you need to make. You trade what you need to trade to make what you need to make within risk. Thank you for subscribing. I honestly can't say that name. I'm going to have a go. I'm not Charon Srisawad. I'll call you AMS. Morning, Vitali. I don't have a reversal on New Zealand dollar CAD. That's because your broker will have different data. Different data, different brokers. Is there any point in being exposed on two FX pairs, Euro Swiss and US Swiss? If you want to, you're double exposed, aren't you? So that's what the Euro Swiss is doing. There's my second position gone in on Euro Swiss. That's what the US dollar Swiss is doing. They're very different. So if you want to, do it. Just bear in mind, this is why I have this EA. Yeah. What's your exposure on the Swiss at the minute? What's your exposure on the US at the minute? What's your exposure on the Euro at the minute? Yeah. If you want to take a US dollar Swiss and you're happy to expose yourself more on the Swiss or the Euro or the US, and it's in the same direction or a different direction, that's entirely up to you. If you go short US dollar Swiss now, you are going to add short positions onto your US dollar exposure. I have only got longs on at the moment. So the question is, am I happy to hedge myself on the US dollar? If the answer is yes, do it. If the answer is no, don't do it. I can't make that decision for you. You have to understand what the logic is. Yeah. If this is your portfolio now and you see an opportunity to short US dollar Swiss, you are going to add lot size there and you are going to add more lot size there. Are you happy doing that? At the moment, I would be, because my Swiss franc exposure is hedged already. So it doesn't really matter. I can just add some more to it. And if it goes short, then brilliant. I'm going to get that later and I'll get that now. If I do this, I'm going to remove that orange and make that white because I'll be hedged, which means that I can't. Doesn't matter which way the US dollar goes, I'm going to make money. But one of those is going to go into drawdown heavily. It's entirely up to you what you do with your portfolio. I'm short Euro Swiss. I wouldn't put personally any more Swiss franc exposure on, because if the Swiss remove that interest rate, which they're likely to do, it's going to make the Swiss franc weak, which means that I'm in the wrong direction on the Swiss franc. If nothing kicks off in the Middle East, then that is going to go into drawdown and it's going to stay going into drawdown. If something does kick off in the Middle East in a bigger way, that's going to happen. That's what I'm counting on. But if it doesn't kick off in the Middle East, at some point, that will do that. Because something else will kick off. Trump will say something. North Korea will go, I'm going to help Iran. Or, just something will happen. And the Swiss franc will always get a pump. This is the beauty of trading the Swissy. The Swissy is a safe haven. There's always something going wrong. Always. You don't get through a month without some kind of holy crap panic, which means the Swiss franc gets a pump. It always happens. Very rare for it not to happen. So I'm always happy to short it. But this is why the swaps are positioned the way they are. You pay a lot of money to short the Swiss. or rather long the Swiss, short against the Swiss. Because the market knows that. So, you know, it's all geared against you. Never going to win. Unless you know what you're doing. Different brokers, yeah. So, yeah, that'll be why you haven't got a reverse alert on the New Zealand dollar CAD. So if your broker has not put a gap down on you today from there to there, the market may not have pushed far enough to trigger the reverse alert indicator to start monitoring for reversals. Therefore, you won't get that reversal alert. Or you could have a bear candle there for some reason, which means if there's no bull candle, there is no reversal. All sorts of things. But trade your charts. Don't trade mine. Trade what you see. Right. Let's go through everything quickly. I just want to see what oil's up to. Okay, so we are pulling back on oil. I'm not worried about pulling back on oil. I think obviously getting down to here, there is a possibility we are just going to do that until we get some bad news. So I am kind of planned to scale in down here somewhere. Right, Aussie New Zealand, going absolutely nowhere, sideways, not getting involved with it. It's just sitting around doing absolutely nothing. So I'm not trading that at the moment. If you do want to trade it, short that, buy that. That's really all you've got to do at the moment because that's all it's doing. So until it proves you wrong, assume it's going to do the same thing it's been doing for the last 3 weeks, which is just nothing. Aussie dollar, US dollar, again, very much the same. I got out of the short on Friday on that spike. Just took the money. It's not going anywhere really. I had a short on there as well, as you can see. It's bang in the middle. Just not worth doing anything with at the moment. They did kind of start to re-add on Friday, so it'd be interesting to see if we do get that move again today. If we do, there's a chance that we're going to come down and start testing some of these propulsion gaps again down here. So I'd be interested in buying it back up down there somewhere, but at the minute, not really going anywhere. You can watch the upside on that, obviously, today. So if we do get a 125 ADR today, you're going to be up here. So that's a monthly, weekly, double weekly resistance. So that's a great area to sell up there. Swiss yen. Already got shorts on, 3 short on that at the minute. So, yeah, looking for some kind of move back down into that propulsion gap. If we get down into there, I will probably take that one off and just reduce size for the moment, just because I don't know what's going on with it. So I'm just waiting for a pullback on that leg. Euro CAD pushed up nicely. I've got 3 on this. I've had 3 on this. When did I get into this? I'll go back a fair way, haven't we? There. So that was my first entry on the break and retest. Second, third, took third off, added third back on again. So you can see when I took that trade off there, I had an exit on all 3 positions, but I didn't take it. I just took the single off. We sat around for 2 whole weeks doing absolutely nothing until I could get that third back on again. So it came back down to a break even again this morning and almost pretty much on Friday. So I'm looking at this high retest being a false breakout. So price discovery failure and then push back down into propulsion down here. So if we get down into here, I might take this whole thing off. So I'm going to watch this for ADR alerts. If we get an ADR alert, obviously I'll pay attention and then we'll probably drop. I'll probably get out of this. So my average here is there. ADR is 95, which is all the way down at these weekly lows here. So 150 ADR is kind of my exit target, but I think there's a good probability we'll find some buyers in there. So there's one of 2 things is happening here. We are either breaking out into new market structure long, or we are failed price discovery to the upside, and then we're going to come back and retest the lows of the range. So I'm holding it short at the minute. The one thing we've got going for us here is obviously Canadian oil price. So there's a high probability if oil pops, the CAD will pop. So I'm hoping that is going to happen, and obviously then that's easily going to get down here. If that oil price pops, that won't mean anything. It will blow straight through that, and we'll get down here. So happy with the short on that. Euro Swiss, second entry just taken. So first entry was taken there after I got out of the previous shorts. So shorted it again on the pullback. Obviously, this morning it's gone nuts the opposite direction. They've unwound the Swiss ahead of the interest rate drop on Wednesday, Thursday, whenever it's coming. So second entry taken, average obviously now here. We've come out of the recent monthly highs. We've got this other high up here, which is where my third short is going in if we get there. If we get to 200 ADR today, that'd be lovely because that thing's going to be wanting to come down fast. But yeah, second entry gone in. So looking for a pushback down for an exit. It's just range bound at the moment. Obviously, we're waiting for the Swiss franc to get pumped on some kind of negative news. Euro pound, I got out of the longs, obviously, because I just sat around in it. It was cost me $130 of swaps. So I exited. And obviously, as soon as I exited, it popped. So I'm looking for a way back in. I don't really know what to do with the euro pound at the minute because they're both pretty weak. I kind of want to short it. I didn't take any of this because we'd been sitting around for such a long time. And then it finally broke out. I want to see these upside propulsion gaps getting at least tested or targeted. So if we can get back up into here, I'll probably start looking at shorts on it. So any kind of RSI extension again to the upside on it is going to give me that signal. So yeah, it's on its way today. So I want to see us break out of this monthly high and start going up, and then I'll come back down into that propulsion gap at some point. But at the minute, not really interested in shorting it. Yeah, pound US dollar, I've been sitting in this for weeks and weeks. Yeah, just waiting to get some movement. It's just not moving. So we've got loads of news this week on the dollar. We've got the pound. What have we got? The pound this week? CPI, isn't it? So we got pound CPI on Wednesday. Obviously, we've got FOMC on Wednesday as well. We've got the pound interest rate decision Thursday. We've got retail sales. So there's loads and loads of news on the US and on the pound this week. So we should get some decent movement. Just pulling back inside range at the moment. Got another long triggered on. I've been spread into another long on the FTSE. Look, nowhere near spread. Rubbish. So yeah, spread into the FTSE again. That's not going to go well, is it? Might do, might break out. But anyway, DAX is rejecting the lows at the minute. So yeah, pound US dollar. There's loads of news coming up. I'm just waiting for some kind of downward movement on this. It's just stuck. It just won't go anywhere at the minute. Been sitting around for 2 weeks, pretty much 3 weeks. That's the 3-week low, 3-week high. So, you know, we've been sitting for 3 weeks now, going absolutely nowhere. Waiting for some US dollar strength to come through. Oil price will help that as well. So there is a potential that oil will help the dollar. We'll see what happens. Oil, obviously, as you know, just taking first long on that one. That's pulling back at the minute. Aussie CAD, monthly low, rejection. That's looking really good as well. So we looked at the New Zealand dollar CAD a minute ago. Aussie CAD, New Zealand CAD are pretty much the same thing. So this is a monthly low rejection. There's your reversal alert. Gone in already. So that's a good looking buy down at the lows of that monthly level, which is these here. So we broke up, retested. This is where the buyers are sitting. This is where we've just got to. We retested it and rejected it on Friday. We've retested it this morning and are rejecting it again. So it looks good. How far it will get, though, in a bearish market structure might only pull back sort of 1.5 ADR. We'll see. But this one is one of those that can go anywhere. Yeah, you've got massive upside, then down and downside targets on it. So really difficult to call that one. Odd Swiss. Swiss franc, as I say, I wouldn't really want to be buying anything against the Swiss franc at the moment, just because we're in new conflict again. It's not new, it's just massively escalated, isn't it? So that's what happens to the Swiss franc when there's conflict. I can't see this calming down. It may do. If it does, obviously, that's where we'll go. But obviously, you've got upside targets here. So Swiss franc interest rate decision likely to come down, which will weaken the Swiss franc, which means everything goes up against the Swissy. As soon as there's any conflict, it's going to come back down again very, very hard, a la that sort of move. 200, 300, 400 ADR within 48 hours, not a problem. So, yeah, I've been looking more for shorts than longs. It's a breakout of the monthly lows. Obviously, it's caused by a safe haven run rather than a fundamental or a technical. So, yeah, it doesn't mean that it's going to hold. It means that it's a fundamental shift that the market is now actually not too sure it is as bad as we thought. It can obviously get worse. So I'd be shorting at some point. This is probably a good place to start looking for shorts, obviously. There's the origin of the move from Friday. There's your V-shaped recovery. There's your retest out of that buy there. So this is where the sellers are. This is where we sold off Friday. If they want to stay short on it, that's where they're going to add. So that's where you want to be selling. However, we've got these big propulsion moves up here as well, which it may come up and retest. We know there's a load of sellers up here at 125 ADR. So that's also a good place to sell today. Aussie dollar yen, that's hit the highs. So this breakout to the downside here, retested multiple times. We're trying to break through that this morning. If that fails, obviously good looking short. But obviously yen is going to benefit from safe haven runs. Just be aware it's massively expensive to hold a short on the yen. So if you're going to hold this long term, or you get into it and it doesn't work out, factor that in. Aussie yen shorts. But I mean, at the moment, it's not the greatest place in the world to be taking any trade from. You're bang in the middle of the range. So, could come up into here, could come down into there, could go anywhere. Again, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot like this where if you go back to what, when I started talking about all of this last week we were inside a range. This week we're inside a range. We're going to stay inside a range until we actually break out. Nothing can break out of anything at the minute. It's all just flip-flopping around intraday. So, it's not my style of trading at all to be just taking short intraday moves, but that's what's working the best at the moment. CAD Swiss stuck sideways. Again, I'd be looking for shorts on it. This is a tricky one. Oil, safe haven. Yeah, so both of those things are going to happen. When conflict starts, oil price goes up, safe haven runs start. With this one, CAD, oil, driving up, Swiss, safe haven, driving down. So you've got conflicting fundamentals driving this at the moment, which makes it very difficult to call a direction on it. What's going to be the stronger thing in the next week? Oil price or fear? Because that's what's going to drive this. One of those two things. It's almost impossible to call, isn't it? So this isn't a great thing to trade at the moment. You're bang in the middle of a range. You've had a lovely test on Friday of the monthly low, although you would not have bought that steam train coming against you on Friday, would you? That was a safe haven run. You don't buy safe haven runs as they're coming in usually, but this one just happened to completely mean revert. So that was the right thing to do back there. But anyway, bang in the middle again, aren't we really, of this sort of medium-term range. The longer-term range is 225 ADR. So if you're going to short it, plan for that as a worst-case scenario. If you're right, that could well become a new high, low, lower high breakout short. So I'd be much more interested in shorts than longs. CAD yen, we're up at the highs. Again, this is the same as the CAD Swiss. Oil, long. Safe haven, short. Which is going to be more powerful? Don't know. So probably not a good thing to trade, is it? Very expensive to short as well. So I'll probably steer clear of that. Euro odd, we did come back up into propulsion on this one on Friday, which they resold, but it's on a breakout of a 2-week range. So it's a tricky one. Euro odd. There's no reason for the euro to be strong. I like it short. there's no reason for the odd to do anything, really. It's a commodity pair. And commodities quite often will get hit during fear as well. So, again, it's kind of a week against a week. But it's an RSI extension to the upside. So there's your M pattern reversal going in. We haven't had a reversal alert on the hourly, though. Lower time frames, you've had plenty. But, yeah, I'd be lying if I said I've got any inclination of where this thing's potentially going. As you can see, it's just not really going anywhere. Most recent price action is bullish, which is against the fundamentals for the euro. So, you know, I would be more inclined to say I want to short it because of that as well. But you would have needed to have been in that last week, probably either on Thursday or Friday for initial position, maybe even on Wednesday. As it was coming up here, these highs here. But shorts right now, if you didn't short it Thursday, you didn't short it Friday, you haven't missed anything because you can get in now, can't you? And look for it to push back down into these propulsion gaps. If you look at it on the hourly, the downside targets are really good looking. Yeah. So there's your highs. That is your propulsion move that broke the highs. That is where the first batch of buyers will be, which is at ADR today. You've got this little high break here as well. So it looks good. And that would also be your 50% retracement for a new leg up. Euro yen, not really interested. It's rejecting the highs at the moment at ADR. But yeah, nothing particularly exciting. Euro New Zealand, we are back up at the monthly highs, which we're struggling at the moment to break out of. There's a hell of a lot of upside propulsion targets on this. So this area here, which is that final breakdown, is where the majority of the sellers are sitting at the moment. And obviously this area here, which is where we are. So this may well get held down. No reason for that to be strong. No reason really for that to be strong either at the moment. So I like it as a short. RSI is extended on the hourly. You've got a lot of upside potential, though, if it does break. So if this is a breakout long and we are just going to flag and break at these highs, there's nothing really to stop it. So it's a bit of a dangerous one, from my opinion. But if you want to short it, obviously it's a cheap option. If you're going to go long on it, which you wouldn't really want to do unless you're going to take a breakout, it's going to cost you. So difficult to know. Euro is a very tricky pair at the minute because the interest rates are not going up anymore. We've frozen interest rates now for the next month, potentially quarter. They're very low, the interest rates, weakening the euro. So any positive movement I see on the euro at the moment, I'm assuming is caused by the other currency because the euro's got no reason to be strong. So I like it short. We've got a lovely reversal retest on euro US dollar from Friday and a propulsion sell. So right here, right now, in this propulsion gap is the sell today, isn't it? If we're going to continue market structure short, this is it. Pushing back down into this propulsion gap. So it looks good for shorts. Very good for shorts. Your entry RSI extension on Friday, look. Out of those highs. Again, I'm just waiting for some strength to come in that euro, in that US dollar, which we're not getting at the moment, are we? There's no strength in the dollar. I think my eyeballs are burnt as well from my barbecue yesterday. I got a sore throat and my eyeballs just feel like they're dry. Kind of want to put water in my eyeballs, but that just makes my eyes water. Pound odd, nowhere, stuck sideways at the minute. We had an entry opportunity on Thursday last week. You've also got bearish divergence, which went in on Friday. But I mean, the speed of that movement, you'd have to have been in on it so quick, and you just wouldn't have got in. So it does look to me to be bearish. We are holding the monthly highs. We've got a lower high gone in. Structure's breaking to the downside. So yeah, I don't see any reason why we should be massively bullish on the pound at the moment. So I like that as a short. It's an RSI extension as well. Pound CAD short definitely on oil. Yeah, so as long as that oil price continues to rise, we'll be going down on this one. So it's just a case of this one, trying to find a way to get in. ADR to the upside today, which is also the previous day's low. that would be a lovely sell. And you've got a propulsion gap to the upside as well. And then you've got obviously the weekly highs coming up. So it looks good for shorts. It's just trying to find a way to get in. If you drop down lower time frames, just had a reversal alert to the downside today. But I'd rather have it further up. ADR, you're unlikely to get an RSI extension, but look for, assume some kind of pullback within that leg for a short. Pound Swiss, again, not looking to do anything but short everything against the Swiss franc with what's going on. Beautiful rejection at ADR today. So propulsion holding. Looking for a move down. Pound yen, again, same thing with all the yen pairs. I'd rather be short than long, but they're very, very expensive, which is why I'm just trading the Swiss yen at the moment. So shorting yen pairs is just too expensive to position trade at the minute. This is a kind of a rising wedge pattern at the moment. So we are getting more and more and more bullish on it, but we've had some fairly good strength coming through on that pound, and that yen's been weakening. They're going to be freezing interest rates this time round as well, which is neutral. So this could go either way, really. If the pound gets dragged into the conflict with Iran, because we are allies at the end of the day, with Israel and the US, if that happens, it's going to weaken the pound. We'll see. But I'd leave that for the minute. Pound New Zealand, bang in the middle of nowhere. We're inside the range. You had a short signal again from Thursday last week. I'd be more interested in getting up here somewhere to short this if we can, but nothing going on at the minute sideways. New Zealand dollar CAD we've already looked at. That's a bounce off the lows, so that's a good long for the minute up into here. New Zealand dollar Swiss, we've just broken out to the downside and failed, but that is the safe haven run. Yeah, so again, I'd be looking, shorting that. This is exactly where I'll be looking to short it. New Zealand dollar Swiss. And obviously that's going to then mean that we are going to break out to the downside, but we need some fear to come into the market, which obviously is not controllable. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing, sideways, going nowhere, not really interested in it. If I was going to do anything, it would be shorting, because obviously the safe haven run is expected to come at some point. New Zealand US, we're contracting up at the highs. Again, this is all very much what I was going through last week. Yeah, last Monday, I was here talking about this. Today, I'm here talking about this. This is what we're doing. Nothing. There's no signals. There's no strength. There's nothing to do with it at the minute. So sell the highs, buy the lows, and keep doing that until it proves you wrong. US dollar CAD. So dollar's been coming down gradually, obviously, because Trump's, hammered the dollar. He has said nothing that is going to drive the dollar up. There is no reason for the dollar to be strong. So there is very much reason for the CAD to be strong on oil prices, but then so will the dollar. So I think you'll probably find it doesn't matter which way you trade this at the moment. It's going to get enough movement up and down during its movement to probably get out. But I mean, it's really hard to buy the dollar at the minute. I've got a pound US dollar on at the minute, which I can't get out of either. So, it's just grinding away. At some point, that dollar will suddenly go. But, timing it is the hard thing at the minute. So, yeah, I don't really know what to do with the dollar. You can't really have any faith in it. So we're coming up to the lows of September. Likely we will find some support there. So you've really got 3 ADR. But obviously if it all kicks off with US getting more involved in Iran, I don't know. I mean, that could really hammer the dollar again, couldn't it? It's very difficult to tell at the minute. There's too many things going on. But right now, that's a long opportunity. Look, so your 4-hour RSI extension is in. You've also got divergence, which is bullish. So right now, it is a long. It is a buy. But you're buying a currency which is just getting hammered. The dollar is not moving. Good, beautiful bearish divergence. Bullish divergence there as well. Look. So, this push up into propulsion here if those sellers get run over, we are going to break and come and retest those highs. But whether it makes it up above those highs, it's just not looking strong, is it, at all? Same with the US dollar Swiss. Wouldn't want to be buying it. I would want to be selling it. Watch that low. You've also got this area here. So this propulsion gap are your upside targets for shorts. ADR 125 would be the ultimate today, but we've got to get there. So yeah, looks good, but do not want to be long in it really. And US dollar yen, same thing. Much rather be shorting it based on yen strength on safe haven runs. But that's about it. It's very tricky at the minute to try and find anything that is of any kind of use, really, because there's too many things going on with fundamentals. Technical signals are few and far between because it's sideways all the time. So, yeah, it's very difficult. What trades am I in? Loads. Bit of a broad question. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, Franco. That was yesterday. That's why I had a barbecue and burnt my eyeballs. Anyway. Aussie dollar, US dollar. I've already covered that. That was right at the beginning. There it is. I'm not doing anything with it at the minute. So I keep shorting it. So yeah. What can you do with that? It's not really going anywhere, is it? It's literally just sideways. So, gradually grinding up. But yeah, I mean it's the dollar. It's always going to be weak with Trump in charge, with what he's doing at the moment. Yeah, if you look at what he's done, the relationships he's destroyed, the sort of fear that he's put into the world with dealing with the US, there's absolutely no reason to go, holy crap, I definitely want to be dealing with the US at the moment, which means their economy is not going to do well. They may have all the tech, they may have a lot of stuff that people want, but then again, so is China. Yeah, China are easy to deal with. But then again, China's spying everybody. We got this thing this morning on the news about your kitchen appliances spying on you. You know, when you're sitting down chatting to someone and all of a sudden you pick up your phone and there's an advert for what you've just been talking about. It's obviously 100% guaranteed that your phone is listening to you, telling Facebook, everybody else what you're interested in, and then the advertising companies are selling to you based on what you're saying. You do a lot of talking in the kitchen as well. So your kitchen appliances now that are all getting smart, they're all listening to you as well. So basically, we don't want to deal with China anymore because they make all the stuff that listens to you. Too expensive to deal with America. China are spying on us. What do? Manufacture your own stuff? It's too expensive. We're all stuffed, aren't we? Technology's taking over. Give it another 2 or 3 years. AI is going to kill us all anyway. Terminator. It's coming. It's coming. AI can do everything now. I saw an AI at the weekend, which is a new browser, which is in development at the moment. And this browser, basically, is an AI browser. So you don't even search anymore. You say, this is what I'm going to do. So one of the examples the browser gave was, you say, I've just been made unemployed. I want to find a new job. You don't need to do any more than that. The browser will then create a CV based on your LinkedIn profile and your skill sets, of which obviously it can ask you a few more questions. It will then go out onto LinkedIn, draft a letter to companies that may fit your skill set and actively approach them and spec your CV into companies throughout the world for you automatically, while simultaneously signing up automatically on all the job websites, scanning all the available jobs, and then monitoring your email for any replies that come in from any of those companies to handle the sign-up process and apply for jobs for you. If a company is interested and says they want to talk about it more, it will reply to that email on your behalf and set up an interview. All you do is say, I'm looking for a job. It will come back when it's got you one. Yeah, that's something that they showed the actual process of it doing, and it opens multiple browser windows within the browser. And you can see it actively just going off and doing all the forms, filling everything in, just does everything. And it gets in touch with you when it needs your help. It's like, I wonder if he'd be interested in. It will come back and ask some questions, but it runs your life. Yeah. So what do we need human beings for? It can do all of this already, or it's just about on the cusp of doing all of this. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, so that's what I said. I just said to my wife at the weekend, what is the point of being alive? Terminator's got it right. They don't need us. We just sit here and destroy the planet. What's the point? We either destroy each other or we destroy the planet. Evolution of human beings is AI. We might as well just become an AI. Years ago, hired a secretary. We ask you, no computers. Yes. First day, excuse me, but where's the joystick? Yes, this is the thing. AI is obviously very good at stuff, but at the end of the day, there's going to be things it's going to get very wrong, isn't it? At the moment. So, but yeah, phenomenal. This also the other AI. The other thing that they did with this demonstration of this AI browser was the kind of prompt or the question was again, it was all to do with the employment stuff. I've just been made redundant from my job. These are my skill sets. Can you think of a business I can set up using my skill sets and come up with a business plan to help me get that going? And it goes off and it comes back with a fully researched business where it's gone out and it's looked at the competitors. It's found out how many people are searching for what that business does. It's looked at the competitors and it's done a SWOT analysis, a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threat analysis of all the competition. It's found the weak spots. It's found the ideal customer. It's found the pain point of the ideal customer and how you can solve the pain point. It's come up with a website idea and a way to execute and build the website for you, as well as researching all the pricing structure and everything you need to get this thing up and running to generate a 6-figure income a year. All someone did was say, I've just lost my job. It's not just gone, oh, I'm really sorry about that. It's come back and go, here you go, here's a 6-figure a year salary that we can set up. Would you like me to build the website for you? Unbelievable. Does the whole lot within an hour. I used to work in recruitment years ago. That's my job gone. That's everybody's job gone, isn't it? Nuts. I don't know what's going to happen, but give it 6 months. I don't think I'll be here anymore. What's the point of me being here? Might as well just let everything let AI trade for you. That's the one thing we haven't cracked yet, because this is driven by sentiment. What's the browser? I can't remember what it was called. I knew someone was going to ask that. It began with an F. Fellow, there he is. So yeah, I mean, this thing's just nuts. Go and watch it if you want, but it's kind of a browser within a browser within a browser, if you like, but all completely driven by artificial intelligence. There you go. This is one of the examples I've just sort of given. Yeah. So now it's going off and it's going all the LinkedIn stuff. It's looking for businesses. It's doing everything. Look at the speed of it. Even thinking about what I need to do next would have taken me 3 hours. It's done it. It's written all of this stuff, which is basically, this is the job. Let's write a specification for it, all that sort of stuff. You know, it just does everything for you. But the thing is, it also, the advancement this is over normal AI is this has access to your email. So it can manage your life for you. So you don't need to do anything. You let it do it. And if it finds anything of interest, it will handle your responses for you automatically. Also for businesses, if you've got a business, this will handle your inbox as well for you from that respect. So when somebody sends you an email, it writes back because it knows what to do, because it knows your business inside out. But it's phenomenal. And obviously this is in its infancy. It's in development at the moment. It's not out there yet. But Uh, yeah, this is just writing an article, I think, isn't it? Oh yeah, it handles all your social media marketing for you as well. You know, this is the bit about the business. So it's not just going to set up a business for you. It's going to research the business, find the ideal customers, check that there's enough of them out there a month to make money, come up with a pricing plan based on your competitors, then write all the content to post onto social media to market the thing for you. You literally sit there and open up your bank account every day and go, how much have I made? You don't do anything. It's doing all the social media marketing. Just bonkers. Bonkers. But yeah, it's this is obviously a first draft or first attempt of this type of thing. It's only going to get bigger, faster, and better at all of this stuff. You know, it's all this agentic AI where you have different agents that do different things for you. There's lots of companies sort of cropping up now that are able to do this for you. I've got, like I said, I'm working with a couple of guys at the moment building a site to do with trading, and it's an AI-based site. So it's not giving a advice in any way, shape, or form, but what it's doing is it's analyzing what's going on, and AI is coming back and giving a quick overview. So as soon as a news event comes out, AI will analyze the impact of that news event, look at the scorecarding systems that are already in place for strengths and weaknesses of inflation, interest rates, and all that sort of thing. And AI will know what roughly should happen next with the US dollar because of what's just happened in the news, giving you an advantage in the fact that you're not going to trade the wrong direction on the dollar. If they've just dropped, if inflation's dropped, interest rates have dropped, and unemployment's going up, the dollar's coming down. Yeah, you shouldn't be doing anything but selling the dollar. So it's just a case of it just goes, this is what you need to do. When? Don't know, but don't do the opposite. So, you know, in a very small respect, AI can help you with your trading, but it's obviously driven by sentiment, the market, and patterns are not repeatable with enough consistency to make money. So it can come up with lots of different things that will help, but it's all going to have a 50-50 strike rate at the end of the day, isn't it? So, but I don't think it'll be long before we've got some kind of AI-driven automatic investing type system, I guess. Whether or not you can put enough money into that to make you money, I don't know. And whether or not you want to actually let it do that, that's the other question. Rather have a cute nurse aide in a short skirt assistant. Franco, I'm worried about you. But, you know, you can get AI to create you, that nurse, and, you know, do what you like. That's the next stage, isn't it? I'm not going to go down that route. Anyway, that was my weekend. Stopped out on the DAX, long FTSE. So 2 stop outs this morning. Short DAX failed, long FTSE failed. So now long FTSE again, potentially long DAX again, but not really got anywhere to go yet today, is it? Tricky market again today. We will see what happens. Right, so that's what I've got on at the minute. That oil position, I should have done this on another account really, because this is quite a large position I've taken on oil. I'm happy to put quite a lot of risk into that one, because if it is going to pay off, it's going to pay off big. So I'm not too worried about a drop, and I will add some more size into that. But should really have done it on a separate account because it's not a normal position trade at all. But yeah, that's what I've got on at the moment. The only thing I've got really, it's not a problem, it's just stubborn, is the pound US dollar. It's just stuck, has been stuck for weeks. So thankfully it's not costing too much in swaps at the minute. You see how much I paid on that euro pound in swaps. So it's a fraction of that. But yeah, just can't really get any traction on anything at the minute. So really slim pickings profit wise for the last week. For the last month it's been slim, but profit's profit at the end of the day. I did trigger long on the DAX. Did you? Oh, yeah, so did I. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, I am long DAX as well. Correct. Yeah, so I am long on the DAX. So yeah, potential second stop out on the DAX as well. Yeah, so long DAX and long FTSE. But it's not really got any traction this morning, is it? We will see. Only took the one trade on Friday as well. It's just Friday didn't want to get involved really. One of those times where something. You remember I said last week, it just feels like there's something bubbling under the surface at the moment, which is going to explode soon. It could well be the Iranian thing. The market goes into a cautious mode where it just nothing seems to look right. Nothing, normal price action. You see how the market normally moves, and you kind of get used to how it normally moves. And then it starts moving weirdly. It's not normal. And you're like, I don't get how you could trade this. It just doesn't make sense what it's doing. We're in one of those periods at the moment where it's just not moving right. And it's normally because there's something coming. I think it's just what we see on the chart is obviously bank and institutional movement. What we're seeing at the moment is bank and institutional caution. And that doesn't look the same as normal. And this is what we see. We just get this kind of intuition of this isn't what normally happens. That's what it feels like at the minute. It's happened many times before, and there's always been something massive coming. You can't put your finger on it. It's one of those weird sort of like a deja vu moment that hasn't happened sort of thing. We'll see. Something's going to happen. We can't stay in ranges like this forever. We're coming up into summer trading soon, July, August, where the market gets quiet. Yeah, the market has got to somehow get more quiet than this. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a tough year. Last year was a tough year, but, trying to trade this, it's not so much that you can't read it. You can read it like a book. It's very easy to know what to do. But it takes such a long time to get anywhere. It's very difficult to make the money, isn't it? Because you can't get the movement. We need the market to move to pay us. But anyway, so I'll be back this afternoon at 2:30 for the US session. We'll see how we get on this morning. Doesn't look... I mean, we might get enough movement to get back to break even this morning. I'm not expecting a massive profit. There's no momentum in the market. I'm not surprised either. So if I can get myself back to break even, I'll probably take it today. But other than that, we'll see where we go this afternoon. So just be aware, today is a no news day. There's absolutely no reason for the market to move on any news. The Swiss franc is likely to weaken based on interest rates coming up, unless there's a safe haven run. Everything else is forecast, so we shouldn't really see any movement on anything else specifically to do with interest rates. So yeah, I think really you've had the movement today for the Swiss franc already. So chances are we're going to do this. I don't think it's going to go 200-300 ADR. No reason why it should do. That way it can if something kicks off, but so far quiet news front. So keep your eyes peeled here. Tehran remains opposed to weapons of mass destruction coming from Iran. Right, I'll be back 2:30. Anything you need before then, I'll be in Discord or Telegram. Other than that, have a good morning, and I will see you this afternoon. Have a good day.